Just thought I'd do a video about the Fiberwerx fiberglass bedsides and front fenders for a 2019 Ford F150. This is a diesel, so I'll go through things that are a little bit different on it. I noticed online that a lot of people that have a review about the stuff don't really cover how it fitted up and little tricks and things that you need to do. On their website, I believe it says that, hit it back with a Scotch-Brite pad and paint it. Well, it depends what sort of job you really want. Like, this is a new truck and it's black, so it's got to be pretty right. There's no way that you could just hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad and paint it, or else it'll be rough as guts. Whenever you have join-in fiberglass, like in a mold, you'll always get an indentation in the panel that comes out of it. So all the way down this join here, there's a join in the mold, and it was recessed, so there was quite a dimple in the panel. So I filled that up. Make sure you pre-fit the panels. They fit okay. Actually, they fit fairly well, but it was a very tight fit around the headlights, and I had to take quite a bit off to get the door gap pretty consistent all the way down. As you can see, it's pretty good. The other side, there's a slight bit of touching on the inside of the inner panel on the fender, but I'll take care of that shortly. The shape is good. They'd repaired a lot of air bubbles in it. They came in white gel coat. The idea is, the best bet is not to use white gel coat. Black gel coat is the best for seeing air bubbles while you're laminating. With white, you're trying to see a white bubble against white gel coat. So if they just change to doing everything in a black gel coat, or even a dark grey, most likely they'll have less air bubbles and less repairs on the panel before you get it. I primed them back and painted them. I still need to scuff them back with 2000 and give them a buff. I used the factory inner fenders, fender liners. They do work. A little bit of fucking around to get them to work properly. And excuse the car, it is dirty. It's raining up here in Canada and it's sort of pretty hard to wash it. But yes, I did use the inners. They fit in quite well, so you don't need to buy any other sort of inner fenders. Just use the stock ones. I did use the stock ones. And some of the plastic plugs went back in the original location and some didn't. You do have to, if you're running a aftermarket bumper, like I was going to put a stock Raptor bumper on it, but this one came up at the right price, so you do cut the inner fender for the front here. That's sort of from the inside. I will fill this little gap here in with a bit of panel at some stage soon. And yes, I've got the full Raptor suspension. Got it off Craigslist down in Arizona and Flagstaff. The guy had actually bought everything that you needed. The tie rod ends, the longer brake lines, the CV joints, the upper and lower control arms, and of course the Fox shocks. So I bought the whole lot off him for about $1,500, which I was pretty stoked with. This is an advanced or Addictive Desert Designs front bumper. This fit out pretty good too, but it is a diesel, so where the shrouding is at the back of the mounts for the intercooler, I needed to cut about 2 inches off each side to get it to fit up onto the intercooler plastics, which no big deal. Bigger intercooler on the diesel, so there you go. So, and that looks pretty cool. These things, I did put one screw through here. You do use your factory panel and just cut the ends off. So this panel that goes along the front, if you're using the stock grill, cut the ends off, and these things fit over the top of it. I should have really glued it down, but I ended up didn't urethane it, so I've put a couple of screw in each side. no biggie. This is the passenger side. As I say, there was a few air bubbles up the side. I had to fill the sides here all the way down. Always check your gaps. I actually ended up cutting the mount off that's on the top here, which really you need it for the aluminum fender. You don't really need it for the fiberglass one. So what I did is cut it off and let this piece sag down and under, and then I built it back up with fiberglass, so it fit up much nicer to this thing. You can see that this rubber sits on top. And once again trimmed off a fair bit to get the gaps right on the door. So that worked out. Yeah, the headlights were really tight. I ended up loosening the headlight off to get it in there. Yeah, that was a little bit of a tough one, and I still got to adjust the hood up a little bit here so that the gap is fine. In fact, the gap is pretty good, but it's just the height. I've got to adjust the little stopper up here a little bit. So that's the front. They look really good. It's probably the nicest shape out of the ones that are out there, so that's why I went with these ones. They were $600 a pair US plus shipping. Now the bedside, I ended up buying another whole box from the wreckers. It was red. I've coated it in a rubber paint, and this bit here is one piece down on the side, and I wanted it to blend in with the back. As you can see here, it blends in with the back. It blends in pretty nice. There's a little bit of buffing compound on here because I had to buff the side because I painted it when it was too cold. But anyways, this actually came up really good with the rubber paint. Painted the inside of it and then painted the rubber paint on it as well. The back, I just cut the back off with air chisel. So you're going to lose the side, so you're better off to start with a damaged back. Don't expect that you're going to be able to keep the sides off yours. They're going to be a lost cause. Just air chisel the fuckers off and place the new ones on. They can really only go in one spot, so put them on where they land and just measure things. I didn't measure or take the tailgate off to check it, and I do have to do a couple little touch-ups here where I've had to take a little bit of material off so that it works out. And the same with the tail lights. Pre-fit your tail lights well before you paint it, because as you can see here, I've had to file a bit off. I've got to touch all this stuff up here too. The tail lights are a pretty tight fit, so yeah, just make sure you do that, and then you're going to make the job a lot easier for yourself. Now along here there was a lot of chips out of the mold, so there was little bits that you had to sand completely out, and that's another good reason to paint this in a textured paint up the top, so it does look like it's a separate piece like original. You know, although the car's not going to look original, I still wanted it to look as factory as possible. So make sure that you sand, be very careful to sand all the way along and block them, and block the sides and fill as necessary. Use a high build primer and block it back. The front's pretty easy, sort of wraps around, and I riveted it on. I used urethane as well all the way down in the joints. I also used the factory inner fenders. Now what I did was just bent them. So line your sides up with the bed, and you'll notice that you're going to have to get the hammer or a couple of hammers and actually bend the outer lip so it goes inside this rebate on the fiberglass, and then urethane that on as well, and then you're golden, and it works out quite good. And then I sprayed because the bed was red, I sprayed that rubber paint shit inside here as well. So that worked out pretty good. All the original liners. bumper bar fit up. I loosened it off to put the back on, but it fit up okay. There's a little bit, yeah, I'll probably have to shift the bumper over. Sort of lines up here, but it's a little bit further in on this side, so I'll lift it up and realign that soon. I just wanted to get it going again. Once again, just riveted the side on, urethaned it as well, urethaned the inner, urethaned the back along the side of, up the sides of the tailgate, and make sure you fit those tail lights on it. Now the filler cap on the diesel is a different shape. You can see here it's a different shape. It's more of a rectangle than a round. And yes, I did accidentally chip it. I'm going to touch that up. A few things to do. But I actually modified this to suit this colored door and dropped it down. So re-fiberglassed, made a new edge. The mechanism for the door sits into here, and because of the shape as it comes around, it tends to pull the door in at this end when the door's closed. Bit of a, I would have liked to have the door out a little bit more, but you can't really do much about it because, as I say, the mechanism sits on the inside here, and usually the panel's pretty flat, so it can suit the thin aluminum. But in this case, it's thick fiberglass, so I actually took a little bit off the mechanism, ground it down a little bit to try and get the door out as far as possible. But other than that, it did fit up pretty good. Have a look online how to remove the filler. Everything actually pulls out this way. There's some clips on the inside all the way around, and it actually pulls out. So yeah, it's pretty good. I got the genuine Raptor wheels. Got them off a guy on Craigslist. I think I paid $1,200 for them. They are actually a beadlock wheel, so you take that ring off and then get the tyre fitted on the outside in between the ring and the rim. Not that you'd probably ever do it unless you're really serious about going really fast down at Baja, but for most people it's just not going to be necessary. So yeah, there it is. It's a Power Stroke diesel, basically a Raptor. It's got all the Raptor suspension. So any questions, just send me a message on YouTube, and I'll take care of them straight away. And yeah, it comes up pretty cool. I haven't put any spacers on the front. The wheel actually lines up perfectly vertical with the edge of the fender. On the back there is some wheel spacers on the back because of course the factory axle's not as wide as the bedsides are pumping it out to be. So yeah, just choose carefully what you need for those, and you should be right. This bumper, the Addictive Desert Designs, is off a was on a Raptor. It was actually on a Raptor, and it's the one that you don't have to modify the front frame horns. I didn't really want to cut the front of the truck up or anything on the truck, so I've kept the factory bed, I haven't cut the factory chassis, I've kept the factory suspension, I've kept the factory fenders, so everything can go back to stock if I ever decide to sell it, because you're not going to sell it for any more money with all the stuff on. But yeah, if you can see from this angle here, it looks pretty cool. Driving down the road, it looks pretty mean ass, and the suspension works really well too. I'm really happy with the ride on it. I do have to change the back shocks and put the Fox ones on, which I have, and that's what I'll probably do this afternoon. So yeah, as I say, any questions, just send me a message and I'll get back to you straight away about it. Cheers.